Welcome back to FPL Spad, your best place to find FPL content for the 23-24 season. My name is Spad. Today, I'm going to share with you my transfer watch list for game week 9. In that, we're going to take 4 players from the top 30 transfers for gambles, for lucrative transfers, from great transfers, and transfers that we need to avoid. If you like my content on FPL, please like and subscribe to my channel for future FPL content. Now let's get on with this transfer watch list. So first up, let's review last week's transfer watch list from game week 8 and my predictions. How did they do? In the great transfers, Trippier, like always, getting the 6 points. Maddison got 6 points as well. Watkins got 5. And Son was a bit unlucky, blanked, but he still got 3 points because he doesn't get yellow cards rarely. And Spurs kept a clean sheet, so he got the extra clean sheet bonus for that. In the lucrative department, Cash, his price went up again. So he made 2 points, not bad, but he's got much better fixtures coming up ahead of these next couple of game weeks. Anderson, his price went up as well to 4.9 million, up by 0.2, and he made 6 points as well. So that was a double bonus. Burn, his price has only gone up by 0.1, but he only made 1 point as well, which is not great. But hopefully he's got better games coming where he can get more points. And Ariola as well, his price hasn't changed at all. So that was pretty much an error, but it could change in the future. But at the moment, he only made 1 point in that game week as well. But they do have easy set of fixtures coming up for West Ham. So he will get a lot more points in the coming game weeks. And then in the gambles, nearly every single one was a gamble that only made 2 points out of Odegaard, Bowen, and Alvarez. But Neto, he was able to get assists in that game. So he got 5 points. Not bad. I bought him in. So that was a good gamble by me. But in the avoids, Emuro, 2 points only. Diaby, 2 points. Metomo, 2 points. But White got 9 points. I did expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet against Man City, but they did. So in general, I think I did pretty good by my predictions for last game week. Hopefully, I can make the same type of predictions for the next game week, for game week 9. Now let's move on to the actual transfer watch list for this game week. So first up, for a great transfer, we have Jarrod Bowen. In my opinion, West Ham do have a good set of fixtures coming up where he is probably the star man in that team to get most of the goals for West Ham. His price has gone up to 7.3 million at the moment. He has got a hard game next, semi-hard game against Villa away. So he could get a goal there or he could blank. But we're looking for future transfers and this transfer. So in my opinion, he's still a great transfer to bring in as he's a main attacking threat at West Ham. First time on the lucrative market, Van der Veen. Reason being, he's at 4.5 million and he's playing game in, game out. I can see a lot of people start bringing him in as a cheap option for 4.5 million defender, as the prices for other defenders that people want are going up. So some people might take the chance and bring him in, and slowly, his price might go up. So he could be a one to look out for in the future. For the first gamble, in my opinion, Jensen is a gamble, even though he's had returns for the last 3 game weeks. Reason being, Brentford are not in form at the moment. They have only had 1 win so far this season, and that was in away. They haven't won a home game yet. They've had quite a few draws and a few losses. Hopefully they can bounce back in the next game against Burnley at home. It's more or less a must-win game, especially with the start Brentford had so far as well. But Burnley are not going to be easy as well because they need points as well. So it will be a hard game. So in my opinion, it's a gamble bringing Jensen in. He scored a lot of points last week. His price is at 5.4 million. Next game, you could gamble, but in my opinion, I will try to avoid it. So for the first void is John Stones. In my opinion, only bring him in if you're playing a wild card. Otherwise, if you're just bringing him for transfers, you bring him a bit too early. He's got 2 hard games coming up, in my opinion. So in my opinion, you should avoid him completely, as those 2 hard games could be a make or break if him getting clean sheets at all. So in my opinion, don't bring him in just yet, unless you're playing a wild card. Now, for the second most transferred player in at the moment, Watkins. In my opinion, he has a great sell fixture list coming up for them, and is a star man at Villa who's looking to get goals. He did get a hat-trick the other week, but otherwise, besides that, he has been a bit on and off. So it's not a great transfer, but it's still a great transfer because of the fixture list that he has. His price has been going steadily up to 8.2 million now. The next game up is West Ham at home, where he'll be looking to get at least one goal, especially after his performance for England, where he got a goal as well. Probably got a good confidence boost from that game. So in my opinion, he could easily get a goal against West Ham. Next up, a regular on this one so far, Burns. Still a lucrative transfer in my opinion. His price can still go up as well, as Botman is still not back and people might be bringing him in during the wild card. His price is only at 4.6 million and an easy game against Crystal Palace at home. So in my opinion, a very lucrative transfer to bring in. Next one up is GRB. In my opinion, he's a gamble. Reason being is his form just looks on and off. Villa do have great fixture lists, but he just seems on and off to me, with injuries as well, getting niggles here and there. And with Europa games as well that they go play, I don't expect him to continuously getting points throughout the season. So in my opinion, he's a gamble transfer for that very reason. Next up, we have Anderson. He was a lucrative transfer last week, but he's a void this week. Reason being, he can't be lucrative no more because his price has jumped again to 4.9 million, and don't expect it to keep going up, especially with the two fixture lists, that 2 games that they have coming up. So in my opinion, avoid for this 2 game weeks, maybe bring him in after. But in my opinion, don't bring him in for these 2 game weeks. Next up, we have a great transfer in Son. His price has gone all the way up to 9.5 million, so it might be hard to buy him, get him into your team if you don't already have him, unless you're playing a wild card where you can figure out where you want to spend most of your money for your team. But in my opinion, you should bring him in at the moment because he is getting goals playing up front for Tottenham as a star man. And he could also be on penalties as well. And he's been getting consistent points. He blanked last game week, but I expect him to come back with a bang against Fulham. Next up, we have Kofo as a lucrative transfer. He's still valued at 4.5 million, has made decent points so far this season, and he's had 4 assists. And his price has not increased. Not a lot of people have been bringing him in. He's a bit of a gem, in my opinion, to bring in as a lucrative transfer for 4.5 million. Next game up is hard against Villa, but the games after that are looking good for West Ham. So in my opinion, a very lucrative transfer to bring in. Next up, we have Nunes as a gamble transfer. Reason being is because he could come back from international duty late, as they play at Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So he might not be available for the game on Saturday afternoon at 12:30 kickoff. That's the only reason why I say it's a gamble. Otherwise, he'll be a great transfer because he will be starting guaranteed otherwise. With Gakpo injured and Jota may be coming back from his suspension. But I highly doubt it that Jota will be playing up front instead of Nunes. But it's still a gamble because we don't know how many days rest he will get from his international break when he comes back from his trip. So in my opinion, he's a gamble. Next up, for a void, we have Ben White. I know he scored 9 points last week and has scored a decent amount of points for himself and Arsenal. In my opinion, they've got a hard game against Chelsea coming up and a couple of other games as well. There are other great options instead of White to go for that are a lot cheaper for Arsenal player. Gabriel at the moment at 4.7 million will be a great Arsenal defender to bring on if you want to bring in an Arsenal defender. But for Ben White, in my opinion, avoid at 5.6 million. Pretty expensive. And for the fourth avoid is Sterling. His price at 7 million. I know he scored a good amount of points last game week, but so far he has scored 2 returns in the 8 game weeks that he's played, and they were both against promoted teams. In my opinion, he is a bit hot and cold at the moment, and you should avoid him as Chelsea have got some hard stuff fixtures coming up, and don't fall for the trap that I did a couple of game weeks ago when bringing him in, and a lot of other people fall for the same trap. Don't do it. He's in a void. Next up, for gamble transfer, we have Isak. Reason being, he might have had a knock in the last game, so he's not 100% sure about his fitness and if he will feature against Crystal Palace at home. Because as Anyhow, might think it's an easier fixture. He might play a weekend team when they got Champions League coming up very soon. And as I mentioned earlier, for lucrative transfer, not to bring in White, to bring in Gabriel at 4.7 million, which is a bargain for a defender that plays for Arsenal, who keep quite a lot of clean sheets. I know they got a hard game against Chelsea away, but in my opinion, if you're playing a wild card, just jump on the bandwagon now before the price goes up. And that way you can make a profit on when you want to get rid of him. And finally, we have the Magician King, Salah. 12.6 million. Price is only gone about 0.1 long time ago. Everton at home and other good fixtures coming up against Luton as well. So in my opinion, Salah is a must and even a captain possibility, as Haaland has not produced in the last few games, but next game I'm most likely probably captain Haaland, but I will take into heavy consideration of Salah being captain, as he has been a man on form this season, has only blanked one game week, and even in that game week he should have got an assist because VAR took the goal away from Diaz. But we move on from that. This was a transfer watch list that I've made so far for you guys. In my opinion, the 4 great transfers, every single one of them players need to be brought in to your team in one shape or form. Because you've got some cheap players and you've got some very expensive players. You might have to fiddle around with your smaller players that you have, the cheaper players that you have, to afford some of these other great transfers to bring in. And that's where the lucrative transfer comes in. Because there are some cheap players, cheap defenders that you can use instead of going for expensive defenders like Ben White at 5.6 million or any other like Spinian at 5 million as well. He's dropping. So go for cheap defenders, as not many teams are keeping clean sheets, but there's a chance of you getting attacking returns from some of your defenders. And in the gambles, in my opinion, stay away from all of them. Don't bother. Let some more sample data come in for more games, and then we can decide if we want to bring them back in or not. With Isak, that's just an injury worry, in my opinion. Just hold off for the minute, maybe bring in the next game week after that. And the voids, just stay away from them. In my opinion, no good. And hopefully I'm proven right in this game week. So that's it for this transfer watch list. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. If you think there's a player that I missed out that should be on this list, please let me know in the comments so I can think about it and see if you're right or if I'm right. But I might mispronounce the player names. I hope you understood what I meant. If you like my content, please like and subscribe to my channel for future FPL content, and please share it with your friends so more people can know about my channel and help me grow to become a better FPL manager and a content creator for you guys. Thank you again for watching me. See you again next time. See ya!